Hello, I'm Dr. James Bogash, expert in health and longevity and creator of Bogash Life and Balance. And today we're going to talk about something that I occasionally have some level of discomfort with in the office, and that's when somebody tells me they're excited about something that they're doing with their diet that they think is good. I also see it sometimes with exercise. You've got somebody my age who's walking around the block, and I certainly don't want to discourage anything, but many times that's not nearly enough for what somebody should be doing for their age. And diet's the same thing. There's a lot of things that people do that think is health. They think is healthy, but really is not. I'm going to give 11 examples here in this video. But this is all sparked by a recent survey done by it's an online survey by the American College of Nutrition, I believe it was. But they asked people to rate the quality of their diets. And it turned out that 85% of the people were off the mark. That's really pretty sad. And it is probably more because of marketing than anything. There's a lot of times people, like, marketing works. People are led to believe something's good for them when it's clearly not, but they see an advertisement. If it's couched in the right way, then they think that that's healthy. And a lot of doctors, unfortunately, don't read medical research either, so they may be just as influenced by that marketing message as you are. So given that 85% of the people mislabeled themselves, by the way, at the other end of the spectrum, the people who had a poor quality diet were actually pretty accurate. So if you think you've got a good quality diet, you're probably on the money. If you think you've got a bad quality diet, you're probably on the money. If you think you have a good quality diet, there's a good chance that it might not be as good as you think you are. So let's go on with the 11 things that I kind of pointed out that are big problems I see in my office. And the first one is fruit. Like, fruit is very carb heavy, and I'm a big fan of berries. Darker berries provide a lot of bang for their buck. But most fruits, people are usually excited because they're having apples and oranges and bananas, and yet in reality, our ancestors, our hunter-gatherer ancestors, did not have fruit year-round. And yet in today's society, we have access to high-carb fruits all year long. That definitely interferes with us and gives us too many carbs at a time when we might not be as active. So that's the first and foremost one. Vegetables, usually pretty safe bet. I mean, carrots could be on the list, but in general, veggies are not the issue. It's the fruits that people think are healthy for them and might not be. Dairy is another one. We've been susceptible to the marketing for this. And dairy is not, we're drinking our calories. If you're drinking milk, if you drink high-fat milk, it lowers your risk of diabetes but increases your risk of cancer. If you drink low-fat milk, it increases your risk of diabetes. Like, there's no win there. So the only thing I'm somewhat okay with is the high protein-based yogurts with no added sweeteners in them, either artificial or normal. Oatmeal is not a health food. Unless you're doing the overnight oats, the Irish type oats that take forever to cook, instant oatmeals almost across the board are junk, and they are not good for you. They're not going to lower your cholesterol. They're too carb heavy, and they don't have enough in them to slow their absorption. You could certainly throw something like powdered peanut butter, real peanut butter nuts, something like that to change it, but oatmeal in general is not good for you. Smoothies are another one that it's possible to do good smoothies, but in general, I feel that there's no digestion that occurs with smoothies because everything's been pre-digested, and so those the macronutrients, the carbs especially, just hit the bloodstream in a rush, and there's not the digestive problems to slow them down. So I am generally not a big fan of smoothies and definitely not a fan of meal replacements. They may be used in the short run, but in the long run, they should not be part of a healthy diet. Nuts. Big fan of nuts, but we have a tendency to do them wrong because we'll get canned or bagged or even the bulk, and they have added oils in them, which completely undoes the health benefits of the fats in the nuts. So if you're going to do nuts, it's perfectly fine, but no added oils. Read the ingredients label. Sweeteners, both artificial are absolutely off the list, but even natural sweeteners like stevia and xylitol, I generally don't recommend those on a regular basis because you're still cheating Mother Nature. We need to get used to just eating less sweet. Breads are another one. There's a couple, like whole grain breads are generally very good for us. I don't have an issue with them at all. I do cut the crust off of my bread because that's the damaged part of the bread. But the most breads out there are junk. I'd say probably 90 to 95% of the breads on the market that you get at the typical grocery store are not good for us. So just something to consider. Salads. I have people tell me, oh, I eat a salad every day and it's iceberg lettuce with a tomato and maybe a cucumber. Like, you can make a really good salad, but in general, most salads don't have enough of a bang for the buck for what you get for them. And many of them are also deficient in protein, so we need to balance some of that out. Fake meats. Gosh, as the marketing took off for the fake meats that are out now, the fake meat should tell you right there. Anytime we try to fake anything, it's not good. There are some really good plant-based protein products out there. Abbott happens to make one. Abbott Butcher. There are some good ones out there, but in general, these new fake meats that have hit the market are not good. They are synthetic. They actually have a completely synthetic molecule to make them look like they bleed like regular meat would be. Like, that's how shallow they think that their customer base is. Fish, potentially good, but we have to do wild caught. No farm raised, no tilapia. I'm still suspect of. There could be some really good high quality farm raised stuff, but in general, it's pretty hard to find. Most of the farm raised is not good quality. And last on the list is gluten-free. Okay, if you look at a typical meal, that if you're eating vegetables and fruit and meats and there's no gluten in there, the craze we've had is eating the same crappy products, but now we eat them gluten-free, and they are almost always a processed mess. And so that's just because you're eating gluten-free does not mean you're healthy. Does not mean if you're substituting those gluten-based products for other healthy products, like instead of bread, maybe you're doing a cauliflower crust or something else. But the gluten-free products, most of the ones in the market, are not good for us, and they're processed junk, no different than the gluten you are trying to avoid. As always, I'll post a link to this particular study in the description. Make sure you like this video and share it with somebody who you think needs the information.